Welcome to another video tutorial. Today we'll be looking at document object model. First, what is the DOM? The document object model enables your website to be interactive. The DOM is represented in a tree structure where the HTML happen to be the parents with two children, the head and the body children. The head has a child called the title, while the body has a child called the bottom, based on what you can see on the screen. So let me quickly explain this better by showing you the practical aspect of it. Now this is HTML5 source code. This doc type is telling you that this is a document type or a source code, document source code. This HTML is a parent. It has two children, the head and the body children. The head has three children here, the meta chassis, the meta name, and the title, while the body has a child here called the div ID and also the scripts. So let's get started by adding our DOM. So now I want to show you how to select HTML elements. How to select HTML elements. So I'm going to come to my script. So I'm going to come here and put the comments, selecting HTML elements using JavaScript. Using JavaScript. Okay, I want using JavaScript. So how can I select an HTML element using JavaScript? There are many ways to select an HTML using JavaScript. The first method we're going to use is the get element by ID. So first one is the get element by ID. This is the first method we're going to use. Now the get element by ID helps you select an element by ID. The ID is used to uniquely identify an HTML. That means you can only use it once. So let's start with an example. Let me give you an example. Let's say variable my ID. Let me say my ID. Variable my ID equal to documents. So I'm going to use the get element by ID. I want to target the name of this ID is root. I'm going to select this ID called root. So I'll put roots here. So I'll put the roots here. Then I just put this. Now after doing this, you can see document.get element by ID. My ID is a variable that is storing this document.get element by ID. So I want to insert something here. So I'll just put my ID dot inner HTML. Let me just put some stuff. I am a writer. Now, if you look at this div, you can see there's nothing here. What I am doing is to add this I am a writer into this div using JavaScript. In so doing, I have to first select this ID. In selecting this ID, I will use get element by ID. And the name of this ID is root. That is why I put roots here. So I append it by using the inner HTML. Inner HTML is used for appending text. So I save this, then right click here, copy paths, and go to my browser and paste it here. Then refresh. You can see I am a writer. So you can see how we can append or how we can select HTML element using JavaScript. You can see that. So if I decide to click on that one, let me say I want to just a P, and I want to give this an ID of card. Let me say card. So if I come here, let me just copy and paste, copy this and paste somewhere here. Let me just paste somewhere here. And I come here, I put the name of the ID card. So I come here and just put this is my card. This is my card. And I save this. Then you see it's going to write this is my card here. So that is how to select an HTML element using JavaScript. So using the JavaScript ID. So another method by which you can select HTML elements using JavaScript is the get elements by tag name. You get element by tag name. So let me comment this. I'm going to put this get element by tag name by tag name. So get element by tag name. So I'm going to create several tags here. Several tags. And create tags. Let me create another tag. Let me create another tag. So let me see. These are all tags. These are paragraph tags I've created. Let me create maybe h tag, h2 tag. So I've created some tags here. So I want to select these tags, these paragraph tags. So how will I do that? It's simple. I'm going to select each one of them. Since there are more than one or so, I use was an array to do that. So let's select the tag by using the get element by tag name. So variable my tag equals to documents dot get element by tag name. So I'm going to use get element by tag name. Let me say p paragraph tag because I created several paragraph tag. Then I will append it. So I'll just put my tag. So let me append this. I want to select the second tag. So I'll just put this. Because I want to select this one. That's why I put one as in square bracket. So I'll append this to inner HTML equal to. Let me just write this is a paragraph. This is a paragraph. Now, let's watch what this will do. I selected this any of the paragraphs. See, there are four paragraph tag. That's p tag here. So I selected this one here, and in so doing, I used words the get elements by tag name, and there's a p. The tag name is p paragraph tag. Then the variable that's holding this is my tag. So because I'm selecting one, I put this one here. So I save this. I go to the browser and let's see what we have. You can see this is a paragraph. So this is how you select a tag and select an HTML element using the JavaScript tag name, get element by tag name. You can also do that by another way to select HTML element is also to use the get elements by class name. Get element, they are all the same. This one select only the class name by class name. So let me copy this since they are almost the same. So I'm going to create, and I have to create. So let's go and create our class. So I want to give this a class. I want this class. I want to give this a class name of love. Give this also a class name of love. Class name of love. Okay, give this maybe a class name of peace. So I'm going to target the class name. This class I'm going to target it because we are dealing with get element by class name. So I'll come here and just paste this here and change this to get element by class name. So get element by class name. Yeah, so I want to target love, the class name for this one, targeting this class equal love. I'm going to target these two classes called love. So that's why I put the love here. So let me target this, maybe the first one 0. So I'm going to write this is a class called love. This is a class called love. Save this. Go straight to my browser. Very browser. You can see this is a class called love. So you can see. So let me change this. Let me change this to my class and change this to my class variable. So save this. Let's use this so that you see it. So this is a class called log. So you can see how we're able to create class name, we're able to create get element by tag name, get element by class name. We still have other method by which we can select HTML using JavaScript. So let me just do this one and let me stop on that one again. So let me just click here. So the next method I want to show you is the query selector. The query selector. The query selector. The query selector. Now this query selector are used to find elements based on CSS selector. This query selector can select an ID, it can select a class, it can select even a tag. It is universally used. It's very common, this query selector method now, which I want to show you. There are two query selector. We have query selector method and the query selector all. The query selector all is for if you're having more than one element, you use that. But if you are only having just one element, you use the query selector method. So let's start by the first one. So let us create. That's a variable. That's a variable. I want to target piece. This class called piece. So I'll just put variable. Let me say my class. This is my class. My class equal to document. Sorry, document dot query selector. So query selector. So I'll just use query selector. So since I want to target a class, you remember in CSS class always start with period, that's full stop. I'm going to put full stop here and put the name of the class, which is this. That's what I want to target. So I want to let me embed it. Let me append the class, my class variable to inner, so that you see inner. Let us type welcome home. Okay, welcome home. So save this. So you can see what I'm doing. This is the variable name document.query selector class. This is what I'm targeting, this class copies. You can see I put a full stop before it because it is a class. So I append it with what inner HTML. That is, I want to write something here, I want to show on the browser. That's why I appended it with inner HTML. So if I refresh the browser, you can see welcome home. So instead of inner HTML, we can also use text content. It's the same thing. They are almost the same thing. It's just that the inner HTML will keep showing any entity, be it text, character, or symbol. But the text content tends to be smart a little bit because it only shows just the character. It only shows symbol. So let me just type my class. Let me append it to text content equal to, just put text content. This is a smart guy. This is a smart guy. Let me just put this is a smart guy. So I save this. I refresh the browser. So you can see this is a smart guy. So you can see that. So what if I sorry? So what if I just do something like let's say I put strong there. I want to show you what I'm trying about. I put strong there. Let me comment this out. So let's say this is my class of inner HTML. So save this, refresh the browser and see what will happen. Welcome home. Okay, sorry, shouldn't work that way. So let's do for query selector all. Query selector all. Let me create some H2. Let me create more than two H2 elements. Another H2 elements. So in this one now, what I want to do is to use the other form of query selector, which is query selector all. For multiple elements, if you want to select multiple elements, you use query selector all. So let's just try that and you see what I am talking about. So let's just give it an ID now. So I want to go to ID, or let me first solve. Let me do for ID before I get to this part. Let me first another one. Let me do for ID first before I go to query selector all. I'm not showing the ID, how we use ID. So instead, what if for instance I want to target an ID. Let's say I want to target this root ID or this root ID using the query selector. So I'll just do variable. Let's say my ID equal to documents document dot query selector. Now to target or select an ID using query selector, you use this pound symbol. The pound symbol must come first before the name of the ID. The ID I'm selecting is root. You can see if ID, this is the ID I'm selecting. Because it is an ID and I'm using the query selector, that is why I put the pound symbol here. So let me just do this way. So let me append it to the very name. Append it to, let's say, inner HTML equals to no place like home, no place like home, no place like home. So I save this, I come here and refresh. You can see no place like home. So you can see how we can use query selector to select an ID, to also select a class. We can also use it to select a tag. So let's try and select a tag. Let me just copy this, copy and paste somewhere. So let me select a tag. Let's also select this h2 tags. So I'll just come here and let me put just a tag, select h2. Let me just put my h2, my h2o, and that's my h2. So let's go to the browser. You can see my h2o. Right? You can see that because I selected was the h2 tag. So you can also use this one I'm talking about. So let me copy this and paste it under the query selector or method. So I can come here and put or query selector or so I wanted to select all the h2. So I can just save this and change this. Let me just change to our nation needs help. Our nation needs help. So I save this and I come right here. You can see it's not going because I've declared it here before. So let me remove this one and try it and see. So let's say this is browser. Okay. Query selector is my query selector. Okay. Let me see if the query selector all is okay. H2 query selector all. That is okay. So what's the problem with my query selector? Okay. Let me just leave it like that and let me see why the query selector. Oh, see. Let's see. So let's move the all for now, and let's move the all, and let's move query selector, and get our nation needs help. So one of the nations need help, our nation needs help. So let's keep praying and let's keep hoping one day together. So these are how we can select HTML elements using JavaScript. So in our next class, I'm going to teach you how to manipulate and change styles of HTML. using JavaScript. So thank you very much.